Disenfranchisement are connected but independent. Sanders appeared to listen. He became the first candidate to speak on the case of Sandra Bland, a 28-year-old woman who died while in police custody. On Tuesday night, the Texas Department of Public Safety released a 52-minute dash cam video showing a traffic stop that ended in Sandra Bland's arrest.
Don't touch me. I'm not under arrest. You don't have the right to take me.
You are under arrest.
I'm under arrest for what?
25,
for what?
7 County FM 1098. Just
for what?
290. Send me another unit. Get out of the car.
Another unit, FM 1098.
Get out of the car now.
Why am I being apprehended? You try.
Bernie Sanders immediately called the video totally outrageous. In a statement, he says the incident highlights why we need real police reform. Sanders now faces questions about what real reform looks like, and he joins us here tonight on the Ed Show. Senator Sanders, candidate for president, great to have you with us tonight.
Good to be with you.
Senator, what specific reforms in policing would you want to see or what you're calling for?
Oh, there's a lot that we have to do, Ed. We have more people in jail than any other country on earth. Millions of lives have been destroyed because people are in jail for non-violent crimes. So we have to take a look at mandatory minimums. We have to take a whole new look, I think, at our drug policy. We have to look at the militarization of police forces all over this country. We have to take a look at use of force policy. That's what you saw in that dreadful and painful video of Sandra Bland. What you saw is an aggressive, overactive police officer who dragged this woman out of her car, assaulted her, sent her to jail for what crime? A minor traffic violation. That happens all over this country, and it especially happens to people of color. So we need a real hard look at the way police departments function in America, and we need to figure out a way that in terms of how we treat African Americans so that young people can walk down the street without having to worry about whether they're going to be harassed or shot in the back. We got a lot of work in front of us.
Senator, we reached out to the Black Lives Matter movement, and we asked DeRay Mickelson if he had a question for you, what would it be? And it came back, you advocate for free public colleges for all, but how do you address the fact that black degree holders are less likely to be employed or paid equal wages? What's your response to that?
Well, he's absolutely right. That's called structural racism, and we have to address it. Providing free tuition at public colleges and universities will be a huge step forward for this country and the African American community. But what we also have to do is to make sure that when people apply for a job, they are not discriminated against because of their race or their country of origin. And obviously the other thing that we have to do, Ed, is that when 51% of young African American kids who graduated high school are unemployed, we need a jobs program to put those young people to work. But getting back to that really painful video of Sandra Bland, one could not imagine, be very hard to imagine, a white middle-class woman being treated in the same way as Sandra Bland was.
Senator, do you have a problem with black voters? Is this going to be a real stumbling block for your campaign? And if so, what are you going to do to reach out to them?
We are working, look, I come from a state which is 95% white. That's just the simple reality. We've only been in this race for president for about 2.5 months. So we have a lot of work to do to reach out to the African American community and the Hispanic community. But I'm very proud. I'm proud of the record that I have established in all of my years in Congress. I am proud of the fact that I have been a leader in the fight for civil rights and social justice in this country. We are going to get that record out to the American people. And I believe at the end of the day, we're going to have a significant amount of support from the African American and the Hispanic communities, because the agenda that we are proposing is going to be very, very meaningful to them.
And Senator, the incident that took place last weekend in Phoenix, what's your reaction to that? Did that blindside you? And critics say that you missed the point.
Well, look, I was there and invited to be there to talk about immigration reform. That's what I was invited to do. So was I blindsided? Was I surprised? Of course I was. On the other hand, the issue that the folks there were raising about institutional racism in America is an absolutely vital issue that has got to be addressed, and I intend to address it. As I said a moment ago, our criminal justice system is out of control. The number of African Americans and Hispanics who are in our jails are disproportionately high. We have got to, from A to Z, rethink criminal justice in America so we do not end up having far more people in jail than any other country. Lives are being destroyed, right and left, and we've got to change that.
And finally, Senator, here in New York, a panel appointed by Governor Andrew Cuomo just recommended the minimum wage be raised to $15 an hour for fast food restaurant employees. You introduced a bill to raise the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour. Is this catching fire?
Absolutely.
And why is this such a critical time for that?
In fact, we just had a rally here on Capitol Hill with about 1,000 workers, many of them who work for contractors of the federal government. Look, $7.25 minimum wage is a starvation wage. And I'm really happy to see that as a result of grassroots activism, Seattle, Los Angeles, now New York have raised the minimum wage to $15 an hour. The legislation that I and Keith Ellison, Raul Grijalva introduced today would do that nationally. Okay. Nobody who works 40 hours a week in America should be living in poverty, Ed.
Senator Bernie Sanders on the Ed Show. Appreciate your time tonight, sir. Thanks so much, Bernie.